So Ed Orgeron, was on Marty and McGee on Saturday. This audio has gone everywhere. Orgeron saying he's confident they're going to play, etc. Well, there was a lot of reaction to that. And Orgeron essentially said the same thing last week whenever he was talking to the vice president. And in every interview that he's done, he has effectively said he's confident that they're going to play. Well, yesterday on Get Up, Paul Feinbaum was on the show. And I first want you to hear what Ed Orgeron said. Because what I want to do is very clear, and I'm not picking on Paul, but I want to clearly point out how sometimes things are presented and misrepresented. So this is what Ed Orgeron said on Marty and McGee.
Obviously, this is not my decision, but my gut feeling is we're going to play. We're preparing to play. I don't want my players to think any other way. Our coaches are thinking another way. Whether we start September 5th or a little bit later, I don't know that for sure. Whether we play in conference, out of conference, whatever that happens, that doesn't bother me. I know this. I do believe we're going to play. I'm almost certain that we are going to play. And you guys will agree with this. The SEC needs football.
The key point there, my gut feeling is we're going to play, whether we start September the 5th or a little after that. In conference, out of conference, that doesn't bother me. I do know this. I believe we're going to play. Whether we start September the 5th or a little after that. Key part of what Ed Orgeron said there. He's not saying we're going to start September the 5th on time with a full house. He's like, I think we're going to play the season. I believe we're going to play. If it's September 5th or later, not my decision, whatever, but I think we're going to play. Here was Paul Feinbaum's reaction to Ed Orgeron on Get Up yesterday.
I love his optimism, but yeah, I didn't. By the way, I didn't believe him when he said he could beat Alabama this year, so I'm not going against him. But he is the embodiment of what you want in a head football coach. Back to the real question. Optimism is not going to get the football season started on time. And Heather is correct.
Wait. Optimism is not going to get the football season started on time. What did Ed Orgeron say? He said, whether we start September 5th or a little after that, in conference, out of conference, that doesn't bother me. I do know this. I believe we're going to play. He very clearly said, whether we start September the 5th or later. But that apparently was ignored. Please continue with Paul Feinbaum.
And Heather is correct. The numbers are. And right now we all know what's going on. So I don't know what will change from today to the end of next week for the SEC or anyone else. It's unlikely that the spikes are going to stop. We can hope. We can pray. But I think they're facing, unfortunately, they're facing a delay of the college football season.
Okay. A delay of the college football season. Which is what Ed Orgeron said could happen. He didn't say that. He didn't say, my gut feeling, I'm certain, is we're going to start on time. He very clearly said, play it. Would you please play it again, Brain?
Whether we start September 5th or a little bit later, I don't know that for sure. Whether we play in conference, out of conference, whatever that happens, that doesn't bother me.
He said it point blank. We might be delayed. Whether it's September 5th, I just think we're going to play. And then Feinbaum's sitting here saying his point is, unfortunately, we're facing a delay in college football. His point is he thinks it's going to be delayed, but he doesn't say there won't be a season, because I think everyone right now can roundly agree that all the powers that be are pushing like hell to make sure there is a season, however that looks. And this is the thing that I need somebody to answer this for me. I desperately need this answer from somebody. NFL teams today are reporting for camp, for training camp. Major League opening day is in 2 days. The NBA is in a bubble right now, and they have not had one single positive test. That's report from the NBA, no positive tests in the bubble. NASCAR last week had a race with 20,000 people in the stands. The UFC has held 11 fight cards in Florida, Vegas, and overseas in the UAE. and they've managed to make it work. The PGA Tour has held 6 events in Texas, South Carolina, Michigan, Connecticut, Illinois, Ohio. Dudes flying around the country, staying at different hotels, but somehow managing to make this work. Major League Soccer has returned with travel. The WNBA returns next week. Boxing is on 2 nights a week live on ESPN. The NHL has tested 2,618 times with only 2 positive tests since camp started. Let me say that again for you. The NHL has conducted 2,618 tests in a sport where dudes are on top of each other, knocking each other down, sweating, bleeding, all that junk, and they have had a grand total of 2 positive tests. College football has had very positive news. Oklahoma has had 0 positive tests. Bagel, goose egg, none, nada, nothing, Nathan. The SEC, Greg Sankey said it last week, low single digits or 0 positive tests within his league. Notre Dame, Brett McMurphy tweeted this yesterday, 356 tests distributed, only 2 positive. Why do we think football is going to ruin the world? Will somebody please answer this question for me? Kids are going back to school. People are eating in restaurants. We're trying to get on with life a little bit. And every other sport in the world, every other stinking sport is managing to play. Yet somehow we have it in our minds that football players, who, by the way, would be tested and you would only allow people who are negative to play, somehow that is going to end creation. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills with this. And for everyone who's going to say, he's downplaying the pandemic, first of all, it annoys the hell out of me that people say the word or the phrase global pandemic, because 6 months ago, you had no idea what the hell that was. I'm not downplaying COVID. Of course, it's a big deal. What I'm saying is, clearly, based on everything I just told you, it is possible to responsibly resume activities in life while being safe and taking necessary precautions if people want to. And if people opt out, I completely respect that as well. But let's be real and acknowledge the very real data that we have of all of these sports that are resuming. And why are we acting like somehow, some way, football is the one that's going to end creation? Well, people tackle. In MMA, you got dudes literally bleeding on each other, cutting each other open, laying on each other for 30 minutes at a time. Boxing, same thing. There is no spacing in basketball. You mean to tell me when those dudes are on the floor, everybody's got to be 6 feet apart? Don't go try to contest a shot at the rim. Got to be 6 feet apart. Let's get real with what we're talking about, y'all. There is a way to do it. It's been proven by every sport that's resumed. Every single one. There is a way to do it responsibly, and it's possible for football as well. And all the powers that be are trying to make that happen, because it's not just about we want our dang foosball. But the thing we talked about in hour 1, USA Today did a great job, the best job I've seen so far, explaining the short and long-term massive ramifications if there isn't football this fall. And the problem too many people have is you can't look at it like a business. You look at it like sports, like entertainment. Imagine if you had a hundreds of thousands of dollars auto manufacturing plant in your state that had to shut down and it cost thousands of people jobs. What that would do for the economy in your city. Think about that. That's a set, like if you think of it that way, that's what this is. You're talking about literally billions of dollars in our nation's economy that's directly tied to football being played in the fall. So many communities, especially like ours here in Baton Rouge, revolve around LSU and football Saturdays. And if you can't acknowledge that, you are blind. It's not just about we need our foosball. It's about our country continuing to move and to move forward and finding a way to do it responsibly. And so many people, so many other sports are finding a way to do it. But then you've got people misrepresenting what's being said, like Paul Feinbaum not listening to what Ed Orgeron said. He did. You want me to play it one more time? Brain, can we please play Ed Orgeron one more? This was Ed Orgeron on Marty and McGee this Saturday.
Whether we start September 5th or a little bit later, I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Whether we start September 5th or a little bit later, I don't know. And then here comes Feinbaum criticizing Ed Orgeron's take.
he is the embodiment of what you want in a head football coach. Back to the real question, optimism is not going to get the football season started on time.
Didn't say on time. And Feinbaum's kicker was, unfortunately, they're facing a delay in the college football season. And maybe they are facing a delay in the college football season. Maybe it'll be a few weeks. Maybe it'll be a month. That's not what Ed Orgeron's saying. Saying, let's find a way to make it happen. Let's find a yes. It's the phrase Stephanie Remp used when she sat in that chair last week on this show. We're conditioned to find a yes. And we got to find a way to find a yes, to find a way. They're working like hell to do it. And I applaud them for doing it because we all need to think that way as we move through this. It ain't just me saying it. ESPN, by the way, just released a survey today. Their coronavirus lockdown fans study surveyed 1,003 sports fans age 18 and older, 78% in favor of sports resuming play despite restrictions on attendance. That is a double-digit increase from the same poll they took in April. 3 months ago, they took the same poll, and they've seen a double-digit increase. Y'all, I tell you this all the time. You can look at Twitter, and you can think that's real life. 22% of Americans use Twitter. 20% of Twitter users account for 80% of the content on Twitter. A very small portion of our nation is controlling so much of the dialogue on this topic, and it's not real life because the numbers show it's not real life. You're ready for it. I'm ready for it. Let's be open to it happening and try our best to exist as we did in the context of our new normal.